You guys finish up questions for Coach here in the room? James, want to start?
Christie, for you, what'd you think of?
James, you started with a head shake.
No,
That's okay.
we'll talk about that later. But anyways, what do you think of Caitlin's performance tonight and just her ability to, again, grow as a point guard and probably have what many will believe is her best all-around game today?
Yeah, I mean, she took the shots that were hers and knocked them down. She distributed the basketball. She takes so much attention, and she's able to find those open looks for her teammates. I mean, all around. I mean, she was really close to a triple-double, wasn't she? Mm-hmm. I mean, she just had a great game all around.
Maggie, go ahead.
Christy here. Hi. When you saw that block from Caitlin and that it set up a shot from Aaliyah, and you see that chemistry and them just becoming more comfortable, I mean, what goes through your head about what you get to do with that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm more excited about getting those stops. Like the defensive stops are huge for us. And, we teach KYP, know your personnel. And Caitlin being new to the league, we try to talk to her all the time about habits and what players like to do. And she's just, she's just trying to learn it all. And she did a great job, great timing on getting that block. And then go score on the other hand.
Steven, go ahead.
Christie, she is 7 for 11 from the floor today. Obviously, she hasn't consistently shot a good percentage. What does that tell you about shot selection and just maybe decision making, things like that?
Yeah, I think, we had 4 players in double digits. It was just, they're learning each other. And that's what this is what's happening right now. They're learning each other. They're learning how to play off each other. They're recognizing, reads off each other. We have 50 points in the paint as well. We're drawing the defense, and then our guards and even Katie Lou are getting great looks because of the downhill attacks.
We'll go Zion, then we'll go Christine.
Yeah, just following up on that, Christy, when you look at those 4 players all scoring and shooting over 50%, just what does it mean that everybody's kind of getting in a groove and getting in the right spots to score and efficiently?
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to say it as much as possible, but it just doesn't happen overnight, right? And so we just keep getting a little bit better. And that's been my message. It's about the Indiana fever every game. When we're in the locker room talking pregame, it's about the Indiana fever and how we just have to get better in our 40 minutes, and success will follow. And I think they're really buying into that. The thing, what I'm most proud of, though, is I really went in on them at halftime about the offensive rebounding. We gave up 1 offensive rebound the whole second half. That was huge for us. They responded. Proud of them for that.
We'll go Christine, then Michael in the third row.
Christy, I asked the players this as well. When you see this scene here, and you've been around a long time, not as long as some of us, and see that for women's sports, and 5 blocks away is the Olympic trials. And there were more than 20,000 last night for basically Katie Ledecky. Obviously, quite a few other swimmers, but it was her night. What does that say about where women's sports are and where your team, Caitlin, everyone, their place in this new conversation?
Yeah. Just hearing you say that, it's exciting for women's sports right now. We're playing in front of, I don't know what the attendance was tonight. I'm not sure if it was a sellout, but it seemed like it. We're hitting some shots late that I swear the place is erupting. And that is so special for our players. I'm so happy they're getting to experience that. But I just really, everybody thought we needed to be experiencing success, right when we started playing. And that's just not, it just takes time. And it takes building something and continuing with that process. And I'm just really proud of Kelsey Mitchell, Melissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Erica Wheeler, Katie Lou, all the new players. Like they're buying in, and it's a process, and they know that. And, they've been really down, especially after the 11 and, those games early that were really tough. But they're fighting through. They're learning each other. And I just keep telling them, we don't talk about the wins. We just talk about success. Success follows that. And that's just what's happening for our team right now.
Go third row on the left.
Coach, what did you think of Aaliyah Boston's screen setting? I know she set some hard screens. It seems to have some really good timing on her screens. And I presume that's something that you're making reference to, and turns out this team's developing.
Yeah, that's one thing we've been emphasizing, especially the last week or so where we've had some practice time. We were just doing drive-bys, like we weren't hitting anybody on screens. Also, we weren't waiting on screens. So just being able to emphasize that at practice has just been, I mean, you've seen a difference in some of the wide open looks we're getting off of our screens.
Go, Matt, then we'll stay on the far left on the
aside from the players, gaining chemistry through time and maybe the schedule being a little bit lighter, what's kind of the area that's had the most improvement that you think can be sustainable moving forward?
Yeah. Probably for me, it's those end of game situations where you have to get stops. We had some really big stops tonight as well, some big stops against Atlanta. That's just in the past is kind of where we struggled on the defensive end, getting those stops. And these guys are starting to figure it out and understand how big those moments are. And they're executing whatever that game plan is in that moment, whether we change it up in a timeout. But just getting those stops, like that's what I'm really proud of. And then just, taking on a challenge. I don't remember how many offensive rebounds they had at halftime, but I know we gave up 1 in the second half, and that was a huge part. I think they had 14 points in second chance points at half, and we didn't give up any. That's just huge for us.
stay on the far left over there.
For the second straight game against the Sky, Caitlin Clark got clobbered by a flagrant foul. How do you kind of draw the line as the leader of the team between wanting them to keep their composure, but also wanting, the team to have her back in moments like this?
Yeah, I was really proud of how they all kept their composure. And the right call was made in that moment. Flagrant 1, 2 free throws in the ball. Just make the right call in those moments and we can move forward. But when we don't make the right call in those moments, that's when there's a problem. And they made the right call tonight.
Stay in the back left to Andrew, then we'll come up to the front on the right, Jacob.
Christie, you've talked about how the players have started to learn each other over the course of this season. What have you learned about this team personally for you that you didn't know about this group maybe at the start of the year?
They're way more resilient than I thought they were. We keep using that word. And, it goes back. I asked them on our first team meeting, what does good team chemistry look like? And all of them gave me a situation where they were either part of one or what they thought. And that's what we're building and striving for. But it doesn't happen overnight. And for these guys and the resiliency that they've shown in some really hard times, a really hard schedule, to keep fighting and keep showing up, could not be more proud of them.
Jacob and James.
We've kind of talked about this, but Caitlin and Aaliyah, their kind of screen and roll game the last couple of nights has led to a lot of good looks, and it's kind of played a big role in Aaliyah having a couple of big games. How much does that help you guys offensively to always kind of have an action that you can go to and get a good look from?
Yeah. I mean, we were getting some of those actions earlier. We just weren't able to capitalize and finish some baskets that we're finishing now that we weren't finishing earlier. And then once you start finishing those hard baskets, those hard shots, you gain confidence. And I think that's just where we are right now. I think we've got some confidence in what we're doing. We've had time to work on it. And that's just the difference in where we were from where we were earlier to where we are now.
Go James and Christine again.
Christie, there was a moment, I believe right after the first quarter ended, Caitlin tried to kick it to Erica, didn't get the shot off. And there was a moment of frustration between the players, whatever. You grabbed both of them and kind of brought them together. How important is that in those moments to kind of just grow together even when it's not like successful? It's like you got to stay together. And obviously we saw that tonight throughout the game.
Yeah. I just ask them to communicate. I mean, they're not, we're still working on timing. We're still working on being on the same page with each other. And when you're not, just talk about it. Just in that moment, if there's frustration, just talk about it instead of not talking about it. And then it just keeps building. And that's what we're trying to get to.
Go Christine.
Christie, I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm more of a newbie back on the WNBA beat, but it looks like you guys are 5-10, and I don't know exactly how this ties are broken, but you'd either be in the playoffs or very close to the playoffs if it ended today. And again, I'm sure others would know what the tiebreaker was. But what is, the terrible start, the schedule, just awful, New York and Connecticut over and over and over again, like, Groundhog Day or something. What does this say? That here you are 15 games into your season and it looks like you're either, again, in the playoffs or like really, tied to be in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that going into this game. I all I want these guys to do is keep improving, keep getting better, keep connecting, keep building that chemistry, and the success will take care of itself. And that's just where we are. You know, we can't keep looking ahead. There's a lot of season left. There's a lot. But what we don't have is Connecticut, New York. We're not staring them in the face as many times as we did so early in the season.
Then we got the last one on Zoom, Mike Vopel. Mike, gonna go ahead.
Yeah, Christie, for Caitlin being the greatest scorer in college history, obviously she was always also a great rebounder and passer. She's already had 5 games with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Can you just put that in perspective? I mean, she right now is positioned to be, you know, number 1. I think she only has one person to pass, which is you know, pretty good for only 15 games so far to be in that kind of category.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal player. And the more she's in this league and the longer she's in the league and the more she's playing against these players, she's getting more and more comfortable. And she's getting more and more comfortable with her new teammates. You know, she spent 4 years with her IAT teammates and they did great things. You know, they had some great team chemistry. And I think she's just getting she's having those moments with her new teammates. And we just have to keep growing on that and building on that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.